because I've been in hospital, which is really annoying. I was in hospital for a infection in my bile ducts, but I wasn't there for long, so I was only there for like 2 days. I was on IV antibiotics and went home with oral antibiotics, so I'm on the way to recovery now, feeling much better. Sorry about the noise in the background because I've moved back to my flat and it's just noisy. There's roadworks going on. I might just shut the door actually. Okay, I think that's better. Trust me to start filming when there's roadworks going on. But hi, nice to meet you. If you're new here, my name's Olivia. I do these vlogs, well, I do a vlog writing, and that's oliviasliver.co.uk if you want to check it out. And also I do these videos as well. If anyone's got any concerns or about waiting for a liver transplant, or if they're unwell with a liver disease or anything else really, I can just give them some advice because I think I'm a professional patient because I've been in hospital so many times, just ridiculous number. I did ask the other day, whilst I was in hospital, about how many times I had been a patient, and on the A&E card, it's added to your notes once you come into hospital and then get moved to a ward. There is a number of how many times you've been in hospital, and I asked and they said 14 times. I was like, oh my God. And the majority of those times, I'd say about 13 out of 14, I had been admitted. So sounds like I'm a bit of a boy cried wolf, but trust me, I'm not. I've just had so many problems, complications since operation, but I don't want to scare you. You know, just everyone has different experiences once they've had the transplant or another operation. You know, things can go wrong, but I want to be one to support you if you need that support, and or if you've got a family member who's going through it, then I hope to give you as much information as you need, you know, to go through this, because I feel like I've got like that good enough first-hand experience. I was born with my liver disease, so I've had that experience all the way through life. So I hope that I can just support you in any way possible. It would mean so much to me if you were to just subscribe. And if you like this video, then please press the like button and share it to friends, family, whoever you feel that they'll need this support. Even if it's just for like a health problem or just going into hospital, or if they're afraid of like having an operation, then maybe I can give you some support. And if you've got any information, I'm going to link my details below, and then you can contact me. Just send me a DM or something, just a private message, and then I'll do as much as I can to answer those questions for you. So let's stop rambling on and get on to this video. Today I wanted to talk about what I have in my hospital bag. So I'll go through 2 scenarios with you, and one is that if you come in for an operation or go through to critical care, if you're called in for a transplant, and that can be any time. So for a transplant, you just wait and you wait for this call, so you'll have to have that hospital bag ready with you. Sometimes it's a good idea to list all these things down, and if you're unable to pack these items, for example, if you're in pain or have to ask someone else to pack all these items for you, it's good to have a list of things that you'd want to take so that you don't miss anything out. Also, during COVID, we aren't allowed to have visitors come up to the ward, that is, or come up into ITU because of, you know, bringing in any risk of infection. And also, not everyone knows if they got COVID because you are asymptomatic, which means you don't have any symptoms, but you may still have it. So we're just being extra careful at the moment in hospital. So bring what you feel you need and try not to forget anything. So I recommend you just make a list and give it to whoever will pack your bag. To start off with, I'll go through critical care. I've got all the items here that I'm going to show you. So yeah, we'll start off with the critical care. If you're there, then you'll only have a small drawer. So this small drawer will just be enough to put a few little things in there, just what you need, the items that you feel you'd need the most. You can't really do much on ITU because you're going to be that unwell even to be there. So you're not going to be like sitting up reading your book half the time. You're not going to be playing on your phone. You're not going to be drawing something. Yeah, you're just not going to be able to do that because you just won't have the energy. You'll feel tired. Sometimes you may be intubated, so put to sleep. It depends on your condition, but you're unlikely to be able to do anything more than just like sit there, lie there, that's it really. So that brings me on to what to bring. So I'd recommend you bring your phone, definitely. Like, bring your phone because you can contact your friends, family, and you know, when you're well enough. So I'm recording on my phone right now, so I can't show you my phone, but you know what a phone looks like, so there's no need to show you. And also, along with that, bring your phone charger so that you can keep it charged, you know. Just also, I always bring one that's quite long, so either a 2 or 3 meter one, because the sockets are always so far away. And preferably 3 meter one, if you can find one, is long enough to actually access your phone from the wall. So yeah, the longer the better, basically. If you're having an operation, so for example a transplant, or if you've got a planned operation, then I would recommend to take out all your jewellery and your piercings before coming into hospital, because you'll have to take them out anyway, and it's better to keep them at home, less likely to get lost. Even for a chest x-ray or a CT scan, you are asked to take your piercings out or jewellery out then, because the metal can interfere with the scan and having an operation. But if you have piercings that aren't really able to be taken out, for example if you recently had one done or you are unable to take it out for some reason, then they can give you some tape. So you know, my nose one for example, they can just put some tape around it, and then that should be fine, as long as you know they're able to keep it there in that place and it's unlikely to get lost. Remove them, but if you forget to do that, bring a jewellery box so you can just put them in. Oh, you can put them just in here, and it's just small enough to keep by your bed. They also would put like a hospital sticker on them, so as long as you're happy with them doing that, then that's fine. That's the best way to do it, because then it's unlikely to get lost, and if it does get misplaced, then it can be returned to you. So that's the best option. Now, we have these awful plastic combs in the NHS. So a little plastic comb would never go through my hair. No way. It would just kind of get stuck and pull it all out. It just wouldn't be nice to kind of go back to the ward when you kind of get a bit more, you know, awake. I'd realise that I've got no hair left, so it's just not ideal. So I recommend bringing a hairbrush. So a lot of patients do this, especially when you've got like hair that's quite high maintenance, whether it's long, whether it's quite thick. I'd recommend to bring one in if you feel the need to. So got my hairbrush here. Yep. Next, I would take glasses case if you do wear glasses. So I'd bring one with you to keep them safe, and they'll put another hospital sticker on there, you know, for yet again, if they got lost, then it's useful to have that case with you so that you keep them safe. Also, I've got my hospital sticker. Just hide that from you, so you're not allowed to see how old I am. I'll just hide that. And when you're being transferred to a ward, it's better to put all your labels on it, so that, you know, if something gets lost on the way, which can happen sometimes, then if they find it, it's likely they can bring it back to you, and it's just another element of keeping things safe. However, when you go to a ward or critical care, sometimes they ask you to fill out a disclaimer form, which is where you list out all the items, your valuables. So you'd list out your phone, your tablet if you end up bringing it. The reason why you'd fill out this form is to say that the items are up to you to keep safe. The hospital can't be liable for the loss of those items. So we're still looking at critical care, so I would usually take some baby wipes or some face wipes, so you can just, you know, if you're unable to get up, go anywhere, you can't shower in critical care because no one does, you'll just be uncomfortable. You're stuck to so many wires and it just won't be possible. So they'd usually give you a bed bath if you're unable to do it yourself, or if you can just give yourself a quick freshen up every so often. We do have the dry wipes in critical care and on the wards, but it was always nice to bring these as well, because I could just wipe my face every so often if I would just get a bit hot. It just made you feel a bit fresher and cleaner. So I'd recommend you bringing some baby wipes or face wipes, whatever you feel that you would need the most. Next, I would say to bring is a toothbrush. Now, I'd recommend the disposable toothbrushes, because the toothbrushes, the electrical toothbrushes, you have to change the head every 3 months. it's unlikely you're going to be in hospital for that long, especially when you've had a transplant or like a big operation. Sometimes those in critical care would stay for longer, but they are able to supply you with one, but they are just the worst toothbrushes in the world. Imagine a normal toothbrush but half the bristles. That's what it feels like. They're just enough to just do a really bad job of brushing your teeth. And unfortunately, we do have to use them when we're brushing patients' teeth who are asleep, but I do wish they'd get better ones sometimes, because they're really not easy to kind of get in there and things. So yeah, that's another reason why you bring your own toothbrush, because it's just, you like to get a better clean. It's just nicer to have your own, really, that you know that it's going to be decent enough to clean your teeth. But for toothpaste, if you have this special toothpaste, for example, if your teeth are sensitive or you like to have a whitening toothpaste, then you're more than welcome to bring in your own toothpaste. But we do actually supply the toothpaste. It's just basic toothpaste, you know, it's got fluoride in, so it's good enough. Also, we do have some deodorant. We do have like just spray deodorant we use on patients. So you wouldn't need to bring in your own deodorant. But for wards, you can bring them in, because we don't have the deodorant on the wards. Well, not all wards have them anyway. So we would recommend you bring in your own deodorant. It's always nice having a patient smelling lovely and clean. Also for your hair, because you can't shampoo and condition and wash your hair in critical care, then I'd recommend bringing some dry shampoo. So I use this every now and again, because my hair tends to be quite oily, and you know, if I haven't washed it for a few days, it just gets a bit uncomfortable, itchy. So I just like to use this dry shampoo just to make it feel a bit more fresher, cleaner, and less itchy, really. So it's nice to have this with you. I mean, you probably wouldn't really care anyway, because you're just that drugged up on tablets and you're going to feel quite drowsy, so you probably wouldn't even care about the state of you or your hair. If you don't feel like you need it, just don't bring it, because the less the better, really. Especially in critical care, you just have no space to put your things. You're just told to bring the least amount of things that you can possibly bring. So if you don't feel you need it, then you don't need to bring it. So the next item would be slippers. So I've just got some sliders here, and these sliders are perfect for like walking around the house in. I just use them instead of slippers, and they're so comfortable. And they're less likely to slip on the floor. Sometimes slippers can still be a bit slippy. It's a bit ironic to say, but it's true. And if you're able to bring some like this or flip-flops, then they're great, because they're just able to keep a grip to the floor. And I'm not saying that you're going to be walking a lot in critical care, but sometimes the physios get involved and like to kind of stand you up, sit you down sometimes when you're able to. But in a ward, you're going to be wanting to move around. They will encourage you to do a bit more exercise and walk up and down the ward anyway, so it's useful to bring these. They do have slipper socks, but they're not very grippy, and they're just not the best. Like, I just wouldn't recommend relying on them, but if you forget them, then you know, it's fine, you'll have to use them, but I'd recommend bringing some slippers. We're moving on to the ward. Now, once you transfer to a ward, or if you go in through A&E onto a ward, then it's always best to bring a little more. But if you are being transferred from critical care to a ward, then I recommend you get someone to bring them in. Like, obviously, we can't have visitors come into the ward, so we'd recommend them to just drop them at the front entrance, and then we can take them over. So us as nurses can take them over to the patient and bring them up to the ward. Now, just think of a few things that you feel like you'd have at home when you're just having like a chill out day. Think of things that you'd feel like you need, so things to keep you entertained. For example, a book or a tablet. If you're bringing any electrical items, don't forget to bring the chargers, and also bring headphones as well, because bringing some headphones is quite useful to keep that noise down, because you don't want everyone hearing what you're watching. If you're in a side room, then it's fine, then you can just make as much noise as well. I wouldn't recommend making as much noise as you want, but you know what I mean. So bring some headphones so that you can keep the ward nice and quiet, and no one will kind of get annoyed about the noise you're making. So bring a charger for your headphones as well. Just any electrical items, remember to bring the charger for them. Now next, I would recommend bringing your tablets. Now bring your tablets to the ward. I don't think you need to bring the tablets to ITU, because just yeah, you know what tablets look like, but I thought I'd show you anyway. But bring all your tablets to the ward. But in ITU, you wouldn't really need these tablets because if you're unwell to have a transplant or have a big operation, then you're likely to have your tablets changed to support you whilst you're recovering. You're likely to start on new ones in the future after transplant because a lot of new things will have to change. So just bring them in the ward because then it's useful to have your own tablets because we can use them. Sometimes we don't stock all the tablets, so we'll have to get them from elsewhere, and there is a risk of those tablets being delayed to be brought in. So I would recommend you bring your tablets if you can. If you can't, then we'll try and source those tablets as quick as we can. We will lock those tablets in the cupboard as well to stop other patients from getting to your tablets and just to keep them safe as well. Just tell the nurse straight away so that we can lock them in the cupboard and we know that we have this stock already, so we don't need to order things, which is a bit of a waste from the pharmacy if we don't end up using it. So please let us know. Next, just bring some moisturizer, any moisturizer if you need it. If you use it daily, then that's fine. It's nice to use on your face, on the rest of your body. The soap that is supplied does dry your skin out a little bit, so I'd recommend just some moisturizer. They don't have them on the ward, so I'd recommend bringing in your own unless you have medicated cream that you need to use, but bring that in if you do. Sometimes if I'm well enough, then I'm able to get home in a taxi because I'm not very far from the hospital, so it's easy for me to get there. So I'd recommend bringing your house keys if you've got them. And also, if we get patients to go home with hospital transport, then it's good for them to bring their own keys, because then the transport can take you home and we won't have to worry about who's going to be in and things like that. So we recommend you having your keys on you just for safety reasons, really. If you fill out the document with all your valuables in, we can put them in a special hospital safe for you. So just don't worry about whether your items are going to be stolen. We're able to help you with the security of those items. Next, I've got some like a dressing gown here. So bring that because sometimes the hospital can get quite cold. The blankets as well, they're not the best blankets. You can use a couple, you can always ask for more, but they're not that thick. They're just a bit more heavier than anything really. So I'd recommend you bring a dressing gown if you need it. And also going to and from scans, usually they take you in a wheelchair and it can be cold on hospital corridors, so bring something warm or even a jumper, anything you feel like comfortable wearing around about when you get taken to and from places. Next, I'd recommend bringing some loungewear, so just things you feel comfortable that you could wear day in, day out around the hospital. You don't obviously need to dress up, wear your best items, so just bring in some chill out loungewear or pyjamas that you feel comfortable to wear every single day, and obviously bring a few pairs of those. If you've got relatives or friends who live nearby, they can always bring you some more, so don't forget that. Just bring as much as you feel that you're able to carry. Just obviously don't bring too much. I did bring a suitcase actually, but a cabin size suitcase, so quite a small one, that I found that was quite easy to carry because I had it on wheels. Now, having it on wheels just means you just need to push it along rather than carry it. If you've got pain, it's not ideal to carry much, but only take as much as you can carry yourself. That's a point that I always need to stress. I did take a few more items because of COVID. In my situation, my parents live quite far away and they were unable to come into my flat because someone else is living there, and obviously we're unable to do that right now during COVID, so it just wasn't safe for them to come into my flat and take the things to me. My flat's pretty close to the hospital, but they were still unable to do that, and they live quite far away, so it took about an hour to get to the hospital in the first place, so I wouldn't want them to come all the way back to the hospital. So I just brought a small cabin size suitcase, which I was able to carry myself, which is great, so I could go downstairs myself and get in the car for them to take me home once I was discharged. Now, another item I suggest is just some hairband. Keep your hair out the way, it's just not everywhere. If it gets messy, then you just tie it up. It's much easier to do that. I do have a bag here, just a small holdall. You can just use a weekend bag as well, as long as you're able to carry this and it's not too heavy for you. But that's everything I'd recommend you take. Now, for safety purposes, they always give you a face mask when you come into the hospital. As soon as you come through A&E or into any ward, they give you a face mask straight away. So I wouldn't stress you'd need to bring your own one. It's better to have one from the hospital because it's disposable, it's clean, rather than using these reusable ones, you know, the ones with pretty patterns we all have now that we can just put in the wash. If it's not clean, then I wouldn't suggest you bring it. It's just better to have one that they give you. They've got hand gel everywhere, so you're able to keep nice and clean and disinfected. Make sure that you try and wipe down as many of the items that you can, if you're able to, that you bring in from home, so you can use some of that hand gel and just wipe them down, just so that it's clean for everyone and you're able to keep it disinfected to avoid any germs from being brought in. Even just when I do my grocery shop, I always wipe things down with some Dettol spray and a cloth, or I just use those antibacterial wipes just because they come from somewhere else and coming into my home. So it's just cleaner and safer for me to do that. Other people have touched it and things, so it's just so much better. It's just safer. I do worry about these things coming into the house and infecting me, because obviously it's so risky when you've had an operation like a transplant like myself, and also if you've got a health condition, we're more likely to get quite unwell with that, so it's just safer to do that. So I'd recommend you do that as well in hospital. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did, please press the like button. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Don't ever feel shy to send me a message. Please comment below on the kind of videos that you'd like me to do. If you've got any ideas, then please let me know. If you've got any other items that you do like to bring in hospital, please let me know so that we all can benefit from this information. Thank you for watching. Bye.